Hello, my friends. Today we are going to talk about Nest.js pipes. First, we need to know what is pipes. A pipe is a class annotated with the injectable decorator. Pipes are used for data transformation and data validation. And pipes operate on argument processed by controller route handlers. Nest injects the pipe just before the method is called, and the pipe receives and operates on argument to the method. So if we see this diagram, first the client send the request to the Nest.js application. So you can see the controller here, but between the controller and the client, we put the pipe here. So inside this pipe, we do two things. The first one is the data transformation. The other one is the data validation. So when we send this post request, inside this request, we put the title and description. And inside the pie, so based on the condition we give for the data transformation and data validation, if the arguments are passed by this transformation and data validation condition, it is the past. So we can just pass this request to the controller, or if there was the failed, we actually need to pass this one into this error part. So that's what pipes does. So if we come in here, these pipes are used for the transformation and data validation. We also need to know what is transformation and the validation. So transformation is the convert input data to desired format. Like for example, if the input value is the string, we want to change the string into integer. Like if you want to receive a number and it comes in string format, the pipe will automatically convert it to a number, like string to integer. So we actually want the number 7 or number 6, but that comes as a string 7. So we actually want to change this string 7 into integer 7. So we also need to know the data validation. We just need to evaluate the input value and pass it unchanged if valid. Otherwise, raise an exception when the data is invalid. If the length of the name is less than 10 characters, an error is generated if it is more than 10 characters. So it is like checking the data based on the condition we give. So and how to use the pipe. So we now know what is the pipe. So now it's time to know how to use pipe. So we can call this one is binding pipes. Binding pipes can be divided into three types. There are three types of how to bind the pipes. These are handler level pipes and parameter level pipes and global level pipes. As the name suggests, you can pipe to handler level and parameter level and global level. So first one is the handler level pipe. So if you see this picture, this can be done at the handler level. So this one is a board is a handlers inside the controller. So we put this use pipe above this handler. So this pipe applies to all parameter like title and description. But there is also parameter level pipes. Because it is a parameter level pipes, a pipe that only apply to certain parameter. In the case below, the parameter pipe is applied only to title. And there is also the global pipe. So global pipes on application level pipe. So apply to all incoming requests from client. Just put it in main TS, which is the top area. So main TS is actually top area. So if we put this pipe inside in here, so this one is applied to all incoming requests from client. So there are three pipes level. So and there are also built-in pipes like already available by default in the JS. That is the built-in pipes. You can see this built-in pipes, the validation pipe, and parse into pipe, and parse bool pipe, parse array pipe, and parse UUID pipe, a default value pipe. You can actually guess what each pipe does by looking at their name, validation, parse int, parse bool. So among them, let's just try only one pipe using this parse into pipe. If you see this picture, there is a handler, this handler, that should come with a number as a parameter value like this. So we want to get the value, ID value, as a number. We need to get the number. But if you see here, the client sent parameter value as a string, not a number. So when this handler get this ID parameter, we need to give an error. So if we test with this code and with this request, we will get this error. But if we don't have this parse into pipe, we are not going to get any error like this. So that's why we can put this pipes. So now we are going to just put the pipes into our application. So thank you for watching this video and see you later. Hello my friend. Today we will use a pipe to validate the post when creating it. So to use a pipe, there are modules we need to download. So that is the class validator and then class transformer. So first come to the our text editor here, and then first type the npm install class validator. This one is for validation, and the other one is the class transformer. This one is for transformation. So okay, there is a documentation page for the validation, the class validator. So there are a lot of validation decorator we can use. Like is empty, is not empty, is in, so is not in. So we need to create a pipe first. Currently, when creating a board, we don't need to give on any value for the name and description. So here, when we just create the board, if we don't give any value for the title and then description like this, uh, first we need to run the application npm run start dev. It will come to our postman again, and I'm going to send this request. So now, even though I didn't give any value for this title and then this description, uh, this board is created without any error. So this has to be a problem. So that's why I will fix this part using a pipe. We are using is not empty decorator. So we can see this is not empty decorator here. Check if given value is not empty. So if we have this kind of situation, uh, didn't give any value for title and description, we want to throw on error. So we can just put this is not empty decorator above title and the description. So we come to our text editor, and then inside the DTO here, we give the is not empty like this, and even for this description, we give the decorator is not empty. So I'm going to just create the board again without this value. So click the send. It's not working yet because we didn't apply this pipe into our handler. So first we come to the uh, controller, board controller here. When we create the bool, In here we use pipe, and the pipes is this one, validation pipe. So because we are trying to validate the value that comes from the client, so we put the validation pipe. This is the built-in pipe. So we said there are a lot of built-in pipes in here, like validation pipes and parsing pipe. We want to use the validation pipe. So now we try again with no value for title and description. I'm going to send the request. So now we get the error like this. Title should not be empty and description should not be empty. Embed the request. That's what we wanted to do with this the validation pipe. So thank you for watching this video and see you later. Hello my friend. Today we are going to handle result value if not found when looking for a specific board. So currently when importing specific post by ID, if you try to retrieve a post with an ID that does not exist, the result is returned with no content. But if there is no post, we want to send it to a client with the content that there is no post. So what I just said is if we come to Postman, when we want to just find the specific the board, so we can use uh, this service method like get board by ID. When we want to call this method, uh, this one's handler is this one. Give the ID, the board ID. So if we put any ID, uh, definitely there is no board with this ID. So if we send something, we don't get any error or message as a response, but we want to say there is no board with that ID, with this ID. That's what we want right now. So to display on error, if the post we are looking for is not found, create an exception instance and use it. That's what we need to do in here. When we are trying to find the board that has the same ID we are looking for, we put the data into this found object. But inside this object there is no value. That means we cannot find any board uh, with the ID that we are looking for. So we will throw on the exception instance. If we have this found, so we can just return this found. So we come to our text editor, and inside this service, get board by ID method, we are not going to just return this one. We will just define this found like this, and then if we can get this found, we will throw on error new not found exception like this, and if we have found, we can just return found. So if we just send this request again with the ID, like definitely there is no border with this ID, so click it so we can get this message status code the 404 and the not found message. But if we want to change this message, it is better to give this kind of can find board with ID like that. So to do that, we can just give the text we want to have for that error. Just so we can just put the text in here. Error message can find board with ID and ID. Put this ID. So we come to our postman and then click this one again. So now we have the better message like can find board with ID and the ID we give in here as a param. So thank you for watching this video and see you in our next video. Thank you. Hello, my friend. Today we are going to handle result value when trying to delete missing board. So previously, when importing a specific board by ID, if a board with an ID that does not exist, we throw an error value for that. So this time, we are going to give an error value even when we try to delete a post that does not exist. So how to implement that? So after checking whether there is a board to be deleted using the already existing method get board by ID, we are going to use this method so we can check the board we want to delete exists or not. So we can check that with this method. So if there is, delete it, and if not, send an error message. That's what we need to do. So it is really easy, just so we can put this line above the existing line for the delete board. So if we come to this delete board, we already have this line for the logic, deleting board logic, but we can just put one more line above this one. We can just check that whether the board we want to delete exists or not. So by using this keep board by ID. Here const found this get board by ID, and we give the ID that comes from this param, and then by using this found, put this found in here, found and ID. So this is what we need to do to throw an error if that board we want to delete does not exist. So thank you for watching this video and see you later. Hello my friend, today we are going to make the custom pipes. So far we've been using the built-in pipes already configured in Nest.js. However, other than this, there is also a custom pipe that can be created and used separately. So this time we will create and use a custom pipe. So first, how to implement a custom pipe. So first we need to implement the uh, pipes transfer information in our custom pipe. So you can see here, we are trying to implement pipe transform interface in our custom pipe. This pipe transform interface is the interface that all pipes must implement. And with this, every pipe needs a transfer method. Transfer method. All pipes also need this transfer method, and this method is used by the Nest.js to handle arguments. So when we make the custom pipe, we always need this pipe transfer interface and this transfer method. So we want to know this transfer method. So this method takes two parameters, the value and the metadata. The first parameter is the value of the processed argument, and the second parameter is an object including metadata about the argument. And the value returned from the transfer method is passed to the route handler. So if an exception occurs, it is sent directly to the client. Even though we read what is the first parameter and the second parameter, we actually can make sense of what these parameters are. So we just try to take a log by using console log for this value and metadata, so we can understand what these parameters are. First, we come to our text editor here, and then we make the folder, name the pipes, and inside this pipes folder, we make the board status and validation pipe ts. You can see this name, board status validation pipe ts, and inside in here, we put export class and board status validation pipe implement of pipe transform interface, and we also need the transfer method. And transfer method takes two parameters. The first one is the value, and the next one is the metadata. So we try to know what is value and metadata. Console log the value console log beta data. So, but we need to put this pipe uh, in here as a parameter level pipe. Can come inside this create board. We can come inside board controller, and we have this handler update board status. We can put that board status validation pipe in here, and then we try to call this handler with the postman. This one's method is the path, and the path is the ID and the status. We need to have the existing post, and then we need to update that. So first we need to date post and description. So first we need to create the post board. So we created the board, and then by using this ID, we need to update this status public into private. So we come in here, localhost 3000 board, and we need to give the ID in here, and inside this the body, or we give the status. So if I click this send, so we just change this status, update it. So we come to our text editor. So we try to know this value and the metadata. So this value is the private that we gave in here as a status value, and the metadata is like a function string, and the type is body, and data is a status. So this is just the metadata about this argument. So now this validation pipe need to have a real feature. The feature is implementing real function with custom pipe. So functions to be implemented because only public and private can come in status. If any other value is returned, an error will be sent. So for this status, status only the public and private can come in status. But if the other value return, like right now, even though we give the any other value for the status, we can still update it. This is not what we want. If the other value come in here, we want to give the error. So that's what we want to do. So to do that, we will use this source code to make this function. First, we need to define the status option, only the private, and we are going to make this function is status valid. So when making this function, we are going to use the index of method. So we put this value in here. The value is this one. So this value is not in this order status private or public. This index will be -1, but the value we put in here is public or the private. We will have real index like 0 or 1. So this value will be the valid. So true or false. This function will return true or false. So if this one is the true, we will give this a value like just a real value, true, public or private. But if this one is not true, so we will just throw this error. So this one is the custom pipe we want to make. So we come to our text editor. We need to make the status option read only and status option board status and public and board status private. Only these two options needs to be in here. If the value comes in here, we need to throw an error. So inside this transform, value and value to upper case, because the value, if we give the value just the public with small case, we need to change this one is into uppercase public, because we define this option inside this model as a uppercase. So we need this one, and this one has to be same. So uppercase, and first we need to make the function private is status valid, and we need to get the status const index, this status option index of status. If we have this right value in here, we will get the real index 0 or 1, but if not, we will get the -1. So it can be true or false. We will return, this function will return true or false. And if this is status value valid and value, and throw new bad request exception, and we will give the error message. So value isn't in the status options. So this is all for the custom validation pipe. So now we try to send real requests right now to test that validation pipe, a custom pipe. So if when we send this to public option for this status, first we need to create the board again, because this one is in the memory, maybe that already disappeared. So we need to make the board again, and then in here we change that board ID with the new one. So yeah, update it well, but if we put this the random one, so if we click the send button, so you can see this isn't in the status option. So we change it, this one into private. Yeah, this request. So we can change this status successfully with this private value. So thank you for watching this video, and see you later.